You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you have pen and paper by your side. Tonight we're going to take another journey into the dark recesses of the lost light, if you can imagine such a thing. So make sure that you're comfortable. Make sure that your mind is open. Make sure that you're ready to listen with a clear intellect. If you're not, you might as well go play kick the can out in the street with the local children. Because without the things that I've just told you to prepare yourself with, that's about as much good as it's going to do you. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is the age of deception. And we have been deceived and manipulated and lied to since the beginning of the dawn of human history.
Looking for something.
Then you know what you're looking for then, because you spotted it and it looks like it's not a body in there, but you know it is because you finally spotted it. And then you look at all the other cars and you start noticing, holy shit, all the cars have a body in it.
Weapons of mass destruction, man. Mass murder is what just happened.
It's murder. This is
the guy down from Southern California, he donated $1,000 to each Paradice High School student and the janitors and the staff. $1,000 checks, and come to find out, he's like this housing developer guy, like worth a lot of money. So I don't know.
Did you get a name at all? Do you know?
No.
We can look it up. It was on the news. I heard it today.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm here with three people up in Chico right now who have been experiencing the Paradice disaster, I guess we got to call it. And it's fresh. It just happened a few days ago. Today is the 26th, I believe, 27th. I don't even know what day it is. Wednesday, 28th. And they're telling their stories about what they experienced. So, sir, if you could tell us, you were there for 50 hours, you said, trying to escape?
Yeah, over 50 hours I was trapped in there for.
And when did you first realize that you were in trouble or that something was happening?
When I got a flat tire.
Did someone warn you that the fires were coming, or did you have any warning at all?
I knew it was coming, yeah, because I saw it first thing in the morning when I was coming down from cutting firewood with a friend of mine. We were out cutting firewood all night, and on the way down I could see a smoke cloud coming over, and I warned all my friends about it, woke them up, got them out of bed, and saw it, and then went down to Paradice that was in Magalia, and then went down to Paradice to warn family members and stuff.
And what time of night was that, do you think about it?
It was early morning.
Early morning, so break of dawn kind of thing?
Yeah.
So break of dawn, you're cutting firewood all night, and then you notice smoke and there's a fire going on?
Yeah.
Did you see anything in the sky? Did you notice anything unusual?
Yeah, big, huge smoke cloud.
And then you drove off in your truck, and then what happened?
Went down there and try to get a hold of family members and stuff, let them know what was going on, and make sure they were awake because it was early in the morning.
But you had a flat, then that's when your flat happened?
No, that's not when the flat happened. They came back up to Magalia and was helping everybody pack up there to get out, and ended up stayed that night there I stayed that night there, and then early morning came around, and that's when the fire started working up into Magalia area, coming up into Paradice, and I went down to Lower Magalia. The fire hadn't made it there yet, but the tire was kind of damaged from before leaking, so I went down to get a tire, and that tire ended up not being good, and there was no power. Power was shut off. And couldn't run an air compressor to air it up. And then on the way out of there, then noticed the fire was coming up from Little Butte Creek Canyon right there. That's the lower part of the reservoir. Right. And working its way into the lower part of Magalia. And it remembered about a tire in there that I could get because we were going to go up Skyway, go up to like the High Lakes, or take Humbug Road up to 32, and it went down to get that tire, and ended up getting caught up in the flames and stuff, and but still made it out of there, no problem then. But I ended up damaging the tire worse, and melted part of it, and it let the air out. It didn't just pop. It just kind of slowly went flat on me, and didn't have any spares anywhere. Didn't have really any way of getting anything except for I had a motorcycle in the back of my truck, my Honda Fat Cat, and I took that, hopped on it, and rode back down into the fire area to get a tire, and that tire was burning on fire already. I didn't get there in time, so I ended up
How close were the flames at that point?
They were in Magalia. I mean,
But was it from the heat? The flame was, or the tire was on fire from the heat, or was the
because
fire
the fire
there?
had reached it.
Oh, it had reached it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd already been through that.
And
Crazy.
I ended up stealing a tire, I guess, it off of somebody's vehicle because there's no other tire that it could get. It had to be an 8-lug Chevy. So I ended up taking a tire from some random guy. He just had what I needed. And put it on the Fat Cat, and before I knew it, the fire worked its way around me and jumped the road and had me blocked in there before I even had a chance to get out. And just had to ride the Fat Cat through the fences, and
What do you mean road through the fences? What is?
just busted through the wood fences.
Because you
Motorcycle.
couldn't ride the road anymore.
No, you couldn't go.
Was the road impassable?
It was fire jumping across the road. I mean, everything was burning right there. It's too hot to make it through there. There's too much heat. You got fire on both sides of the road, and some of the areas of the road was on fire. The road was burning.
And did it smell like smoke? Did it smell like a fire?
I don't know about that because I can't smell or taste. I
Okay.
wouldn't be able to tell you what anything smelled like.
Okay, and you were saying that you were there for 50 hours, and then once you got out, you were seeing that one-lane road only? There was one-lane road?
Before that, going through all the area, watching the fire ignite and stuff, also noticed everything turning blue.
Right.
It was a blue color to everything.
And you were saying that you were at the, tell me a story about being at the, was it Kmart or Walmart?
Kmart, yeah. Worked down into Kmart. The fire hadn't even reached there yet. That's during the time of warning everybody that the fire was coming. That happened before all this up in the lower part of Magalia.
So is this day one,
So
or-
it'd be going back in time on that.
Okay.
That was the fire hasn't even made it to Kmart yet, and none of the trees around Kmart are burnt except for one. And Kmart burnt down, and that one tree that's burnt, it lit up on its own.
That was the one that we have the picture of. I'm going to put in here behind the Kmart.
Yeah.
There's the one tree that it just exploded, you said?
No, it ignited like super hot.
And you saw it.
Yeah.
And then what, how did, and then it jumped to the Kmart?
Yeah, well, I didn't stick around for that part, but I assume that's what happened.
Yeah, he's a Kmart.
Because that's the only thing that was burning next to Kmart.
Did you hear anything? Did you notice any sounds or anything?
Just crackling.
Was the tree blue before it blew up?
Yeah, that's why we were going to take a picture of it, because it turned really blue, and we're going to take a picture of it, but it ignited before we even got a picture of it.
Wow.
So,
You see the spark coming from that picture.
There's no power lines behind there, huh? Because they're all out on the street.
Yeah, it's all
the
on the street.
transformers
Yeah.
and everything are on the street.
There's no transformer.
So this tree ignites for no reason.
Just
just
ignites.
spontaneous
Combust.
Fire
Yeah.
there, nothing. It's like super hot ignites. Like if there was like if the fire was right on it.
Wow.
And it looks like that picture though looks like sparks.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
shoots
about
sparks
flying
out of it. I mean, it's like
out of a
white hot.
tree.
And you
Sparks
couldn't-
out of a tree.
You
Out
couldn't
there,
look
yeah.
at it neither. It would give you like if you looked at the sun too long, you get
Almost like
sun
flash
spots.
burn onto your
So
eyes.
you
That's
didn't want to
how bright
stare
it
at
was.
it too long, and then that lasted for a little over a minute, and then it would just burn like a regular, like you'd expect a tree to. It just started burning, just flames coming off of it. Was
With just
intense.
one tree, one lone tree.
Just something to start a fire.
Nothing
Yeah.
fell in on it. Nothing, no debris, burning debris. Nothing. Just ignites out of absolutely no.
And did you meet others in that time when they were in?
They were pretty
And this
hardcore.
was this before Trump came, or yeah?
So yeah, it was before.
Yeah, it was before
Something
Trump
really
came, so we
weird
know it wasn't for
about,
him. You know,
Well,
Right.
this is out by Butte College. This is
yeah.
About
They're trying to
Lincoln
block
Doom
in
Grade,
every access is where
They have a highway patrol and a National Guard on Doom Grade Road, blocking Doom Grade off where you can't go in there, and there's not even any houses on Doom Grade, except for at the very top that ranch But that's it. Other than that, there's no houses.
Yeah, see, this
there.
is the
They
crazy
got that
things
road
about it.
completely
No
blocked
rhyme or
off.
reason for what they're blocking. There's nothing. They're blocking places that don't go nowhere, and they don't even give a shit about the neighborhoods. There was not one cop up there. There couldn't have been one cop up there. A friend of mine was listening to the scanner, and he says he heard one sheriff say, "Get out of your cars, and go and run." This is a sheriff telling them to get out of their cars. So the fire was there. But they all made, I don't know if they all made it out or just the sheriff made it out or if he even made it out. But what I'm saying is not one officer has been hurt, not one officer. I mean, these are our illustrious protectors out there.
First responders.
Hiding until the fire goes through, then they go.
What
I mean, doesn't that just blow your mind? It just blows my mind.
Highway patrol jumped in the back of the trunk. Some lady's car got out of there because his patrol car caught on fire.
There was 3 injuries for.
See, so
Now what about the people trying to leave and they were all backed up and couldn't go nowhere? They're going downhill.
Oh my God.
yeah, they were
They
blocking
made everybody
lanes.
in one lane.
They say that they opened both lanes for downhill traffic. They're liars.
I'm
They're lying
surprised.
to
I'm
their,
really
through their
surprised
teeth.
because I live up in Upper Magalia and off of Rosewood, and you know, it just was really strange to me that all that way that nobody, even I was listening to the scanner the whole time too when Stacy called me, you know, from 7:30 that morning. And I was listening to the scanner the whole time, but nobody even said
No.
to use the alternate route of the back way through Forest Ranch. Everybody was going
Downhill
in a
into the
downhill.
fire, just basically to.
But before we even got an evacuation, I said, "Pack your shit, let's go." I unloaded my car and I put the dogs and the cat in there, and then my boyfriend, and we were out of there. You know, and that was before we got an evacuation because I wasn't going to get stuck. What I was hearing on that scanner, I was not going to get stuck down there. You know.
Was your power on or off when you left?
It was on.
And you had your power off though, so they turned the power off or some?
The power was turned. I'm pretty sure the power was turned off everywhere and the water.
No, not when I left. When I left in off of.
What
Rosewood,
time? What time was it?
I left at 9:30 in the morning. I got a phone
Oh,
call.
okay,
I got
yeah,
a phone call
9:30.
at 7:30 saying, "Is that by you up there?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then next thing I
Yeah,
know, I
that's-
went around there and it was a whole big black thing of smoke. And so I turned on the scanner, and then I was like, "Oh!" And then I heard everything about going on at the hospital. They spent a lot of time trying to get those people out of the hospital.
A friend of mine that's supposed to come over here and speak is a tow truck driver friend, and his mother. He goes, just look on Facebook. It's called What did you say it was? You heard me talking to him on the phone. But anyway, it's Valerie something, and she had a C-section in the hospital. They put her in an ambulance and left her there. And the only reason she got saved, she had a C-section, so she was paralyzed from the waist down.
Oh, gosh.
She could not get out on her own. But they put her in an ambulance and they left her.
No,
and
that's
she,
not what I
yeah,
heard.
that's what the lady's son that I just talked to on the phone just told me what had happened. And he said that somebody heard her screaming, a passerby, and went and got her out of the ambulance and took her because the ambulance caught on fire. The ambulance was
Well,
burning.
I heard that the ambulance caught on fire or whatever, but they ran into a house or something with her, and they ran into somebody's garage. I saw.
But the point being is they left her.
Yeah, so whoever-
Somebody else helped them, but if
whoever
they
was-
helped them, but
yeah, our illustrious,
well, no,
whatever,
I call it the yo-yo. You're on your own. I mean,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
right.
really you're on
That's
your own.
about it.
So, sir, could you
Man,
talk about what you were saying when you were leaving and seeing a single lane road? They weren't allowing cars in one lane, and what you saw with all the cars.
I just saw it when after it was burnt.
What area was this? By the dam, you said?
This is below the dam.
Okay.
But the way that all the cars were exiting after I finally got a tire put on my truck. The reason why I was doing that is because my dog was in the truck and I didn't want to leave my dog behind. So by the time I was able to get the tire on the truck and I went to go north like I originally was, I was going right back into the fire again, and behind me was already burnt. So I just went south through all the burnt areas. So I went through the whole town of Paradise from top to bottom and saw everything that was burnt that was left behind. And I met up with the first responders of the fire crew at probably the upper end of Paradise by Fast Trip gas station, Optimal Bar area, Bader Mine. And the cars that were lined up on there, they were all in the right lane. I was kind of expecting to see them in both lanes and all over the place,
All
but
going
they were
down,
all
yeah.
in the right lane, stacked up, just going all the way down, and then all the roads coming in from the sides, same thing, all in the right lane, all the way, every single road basically coming into Skyway.
Were people in the cars? Were they just stopped, or were they, why were the cars there?
I was looking for people in the cars at first, and I take a glance and said, okay, nobody there, and then I got to one where I saw something that caught my eye. It looked kind of weird because it's hard to identify a body in a car. I looked, and it looked like somebody was sitting down on the floorboard, like there's no seat there, like sitting really low in the car. And then I realized that, oh shit,
Like they melted.
Yeah, the person's because the seat is burnt underneath them, so they sunk down really low.
Flesh, all
and
the
I
flesh
was
just
looking for people at like normal head height that you'd see somebody in a car that was unburnt. So I started noticing that these vehicles did have people in them.
So people were sitting there, they're stuck in traffic, and then they got torched.
Yeah, they were just down lower, so then I knew what to look for, and then I started seeing people in all the vehicles because I knew what it looked like for somebody to be in a vehicle that was burnt. And then I came across a school bus that was there, one of the big school buses, and
A yellow school bus?
yeah, and I was because I was looking in the cars and stuff, seeing which cars had bodies, and see how many, because I was curious on how many bodies there were. And when I saw the school bus, that's when I quit looking. I didn't want to look in it, so I just turned my head and made sure that I didn't look inside of it. I didn't want to see inside of it.
But you think that they were in there, children were in the school bus?
Yeah, I didn't want to find out.
And then there was another load of somebody in a bunch of people in a truck or something, and you were talking about there were people, other people in a big truck, a bunch of people.
Yeah, and they ignited in Chico at the gas station.
Can you explain that?
I don't know. This is something that I heard. I don't know.
It's okay. What did you hear?
I just heard that the person had saved some people from up in Paradise and brought them down to the gas station after everybody unloaded out of the truck. He was just parked there. He went inside to get something, and his truck just ignited into flames, burned
Combusted.
Yeah, right in the parking lot.
So once these ray beams or these lasers or whatever fields excite metal to burn, it must land up.
The problem with that is if you go up any of these roads, Sierra Pacific though, I mean, they do own a lot of that property, even up in Cohasset, you go through there and you see all these cut down trees, like they thinned it out.
Oh, they don't thin nothing.
No, but listen, but then they just left everything there. They just left it all there.
The lumber?
Yeah,
the trees?
The trees. I mean, they
It's
don't.
fuel. It's fuel. For fuel. They do it. They do hack and squirt at Mendocino, where I live, and they drop the trees because they want the lumber.
They consider it a weed.
Right, and so they'll leave it there, and then that'll be fuel for the fire. This is all part of it.
And it's ridiculous.
I'm from the Forest Ranch area, the Forest Ranch Ridge, not Paradise Ridge, and I was raised up there since I was probably 2 or 3 when we moved up there, 1 or 2, and they would come in there and they clear cut, selective cut. They call it selective cutting. They go in and take the old big trees out, leave the younger ones, Well, one day we're down there off of H line, down into not Butte Creek side, it's Chico Creek side of the canyon, and they had a great big ginormous sign, and it says, we are taking care of your forest, blah blah blah, by selectively cutting and keeping the cutting to a minimum, blah blah blah. Okay, the sign was there for about a year, not even probably till the next summer, and then they came in and just cut everything down right to the powder dirt. There was nothing.
Clear cut.
They clear cut the old cut. They clear cutted right after they selective cutted, supposedly. Oh, yay, we're
thinning.
Looking out for you, thinning the forest, and then they just cut it all to the ground. They didn't replant either. They don't replant. They say they replant. Shit, I've never seen a sapling one they put in the ground.
And you were saying that they're blocking off all access roads, they're blocking everything up?
They did that years ago. They started that 30 years ago, and they started putting fences up and gates. People would say, "Oh, this bullshit," and they would pull them out with their chains, and they never would do anything about it because they can't do that. They're not supposed to do that. It's illegal to stop a thoroughfare road,
public road, yeah,
that they've been using for hundreds of years. You can't do that. But they did, and they kept doing it. And Red Emerson had one spot that had 100 gates. Had 100 gates lined up, brand new gates, and he was putting them in as fast as you could and replacing them as fast as he could. And eventually, people just they quit going through the gates and running them over and everything because they got tired of running them up. I mean, they just kept putting them up. And 2 years later, like you said, the right-of-way law or whatever, the right of
Eminent domain, yeah.
Once they've kept that gate up for 2 years and kept people from using that road for 2 years, they can keep the gate there and then enforce it with their own police.
Right.
Our own police we pay for, write us tickets and kick us out and arrest us for using the land. I mean, it's just sick, sad world. This world is sick, sad, and it's sick and getting sicker. But
So I noticed before the fires too, before the fire up here, that they were heavily, I keep looking at your book, chemtrailing the shit out of this area.
yep,
just
continuously they
horribly.
Every day.
I mean, they weren't doing it for a while there. It was nice clear out, and they weren't doing it for a while, and then all of a sudden, like 3 days in a row, right before the fire,
just Chris, it looked like a
shit.
check. It looked like a
checkerboard.
tic-tac-toe board. I mean, just everywhere. And then they started. Did you get my email about over towards Corning, over towards that way, over towards those hills over there? They were doing loops. I've never seen the chemtrails like that, but they were doing circles. They were overlapping rings that looked like the Audi emblem or the Olympics.
Yeah, I wrote that book on geoengineering 3 years ago, and I've been studying geoengineering since 2005, and I've never seen the intensity since the beginning of April of what they're doing. They did it over in Santa Rosa as well. And so that's really big documentation. Also in the Geyservilles, down in Geyserville, they had earthquakes right before the events that occurred up in here in Paradise. And so there is, it does seem like they were prepping the skies. It does seem like they were getting it all ready for the event.
You betcha. Oh yeah.
That this was planned.
Just aluminum oxide, right?
They've obviously, aluminum oxide.
Well, and then we're learning that the terpenes that's coming down, the desiccants that are being sprayed from the skies is the terpene, and that's causing the accelerants. And then when you add just a little bit, you get thermite, and that causes the combustion of the plant materials as well.
Turn blue.
Turn blue.
I don't know. We'll have to do more research. I'm sure some people that are science wonks will come back and tell us if it's true or not. I'm not sure, but we're putting these pieces together. But clearly, over the years, like where we are, we had these trees that were burning from the inside, and the foliage, the vegetation wasn't touched. Well, that's because the desiccants that are being sprayed, the aluminum from the sky, is being uprooted through the trees over time, and that becomes
making it so hot.
Yeah, and it combusts from the inside out. And then I take these pictures to the fire departments where I live and stuff, and I show them the pictures, and they say, "Oh, we've seen that before. Oh, that's
That's normal."
Well, they're just
normal.
Well, now I mean, Cal Fire Ken Pimlott, who's the guy who's overseeing all Cal Fires, and I've been calling this guy out. We had 170 fires start on October 8th, 170 fires, okay, in 9 different counties. He's only officially explained 13 of them.
Yeah,
a year and a half later. I mean, give me a break, guy. You got a PhD in forensics, and you can't tell us how these fires started?
They know.
And so we had 3,000-pound cars flipped on their roofs. I mean, we had things. Kmart jumped
like
a 6-lane.
from hurricane force winds or something, something you would see from that, right?
Well, that's why they had to create the Fire NATO story. The Fire NATO is saying that it's 190 mile an hour winds, and that there's 2,800 degree temperatures, blah blah blah. Because they're
saying that too about the one up in Paradise, the campfire. And what was funny is that all the videos and all the pictures I see.
That's the same thing I was gonna say.
And everything I saw, the mailboxes and the freaking garbage cans were all still along the side of the road.
untouched.
But another,
but
what?
these foundations of these houses are obliterated. Like,
Yeah,
they are just gone.
it
No
had to have-
foundations left.
Like you just held a blowtorch right on each house and just
exploded it.
exploded, just burned it to the
On
melted
Skyway,
it.
the businesses along Skyway, as I was leaving Paradise, headed down, there's chunks of concrete sized beach balls and stuff out in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
From the,
Chunks of concrete.
Yeah.
from the buildings that fucking.
What do you think they
come
need to
out
clear the
toppled
road
over.
from?
What a trip,
It
man!
looked
And
like
then
a bomb
didn't you say
hit
that
or
the
something.
fire was so hot it was like white?
No, on
Yeah,
the tree, the one
Oh,
before it
You
exploded.
can look at
That's
it
hot.
and get spots in your
Another thing is if you look at the photos, the photos that you got.
Yep.
Did you notice that the flames? Usually when there's 50 mile an hour winds, the flames are
Laying over.
vertical, just horizontal, just shooting way ahead of itself. none of those flames are going sideways. They're going straight up. It's all burning up upward.
And you also, the thing I keep making a point of is this thing traveled east to west, east to
We
southwest.
don't ever get
Yeah, that's a
winds
weird
from
direction
there.
for it to travel.
Yay! I've windsurfed all my life in the San Francisco
jet
Bay.
ski
There's
just
never
from
been any
the
winds. We got the Sierras. We got 12,000 foot Sierras. There's no winds that come over. Give me a
And the
freaking
funniest
break.
thing too is that the fire down the Woolly fire
Yep.
and the campfire started on the same freaking day, and they both had the windiest days on record. Both those on that same day.
The people
On every corner.
Every
in
corner.
Paradise.
So say what you just said again, if you don't mind.
Okay, all throughout town, there's multiple car pileups, and
And you're a tow
accidents.
truck driver.
Yeah.
You, and so you've been seeing these cars because you're going up there
Yeah,
to Paradise.
absolutely. And yeah, there's so many personnel up there, so many emergency personnel. I mean, everywhere
Nothing
you
but.
look, there's nothing. Everything up there is everything but local cops. There's no local cops up there.
The Paradise Police.
I don't think so. I haven't seen any.
Well, they probably gave him relocated him and gave him immunity.
It's
or
their own
something.
backyard, you know, and no one wants to deal with that.
Federal trumps state, state trumps local.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way it works. FEMA came into Santa Rosa and took over the operations. Red Cross and FEMA came over, took over Santa Rosa.
You know about FEMA right there, right?
No.
Yeah, they're right here at the airport.
Yeah.
OES.
he's next door-
Well,
they're
actually,
next
it's
door to him.
OES. It's OES.
Yeah, the Office of Emergency
No,
Services.
governors.
We're here to serve you.
Governors. It's called the. I just saw a car. I passed the car. on the way
Governor's
to go
Office
see-
of Emergency Services.
Yes, that's what it is. And who are they? I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I've never
All of a
seen
sudden,
anything
they
like
got a big operation. Well, our tax money goes all kinds of places, don't it?
That's
for
black
free.
budget, bud.
Not for free, but I mean, we got all kinds of government agencies we had no idea we had.
Not
Isn't
to
that
mention,
lovely?
not to mention I heard the firefighters were wanting to know what the white powdery substance was on the treetops.
Interesting.
Chemtrails, maybe?
Phosphorus.
Phosphorus.
Maybe
White
phosphorus
phos-
or
it's white-
magnesium.
There you go.
Magnesium.
So the-
Magnesium ignites, and with a big lighter, you can
Right, and
ignite
so-
magnesium.
You can show my book on geoengineering, and I write about the desiccants of aluminum that they've been spraying for decades over us with the geoengineering chemtrails. Those get uprooted into the trees. That's why the trees catch fire inside.
Yeah.
So the desiccants, the aluminum, it's not hard to make thermite out of that. And then the plants, but with taking up the aluminum, become terpenes, and the terpenes ignite into high flammables. And so they're able to ignite using GPS, using lasers to target anything they want. That's why those cars, did you see a bunch of burned out cars everywhere?
Dude, that's all there is up there.
Yeah, just like fucking
Okay, there
roads
used to be,
filled with it.
bro, it's like this. I went in,
Hey,
I'm
Doug,
going,
go sit over there, will you? So I can get, will you go sit over there if you don't mind?
I'm like, holy fuck, there's nothing left. There's nothing left.
To tell me what was your first, when you first went, or when did you first experience it? What was your first experience of this?
Well, it would be probably Sunday night. That's when they started calling tow trucks in.
And the fire had started,
Thursday morning.
so it took 3 days for them to call, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday for them to call tow trucks up there?
Well, you gotta understand, the whole town's gone now. There's nothing really
Yeah,
fucking there.
no people either. Their people are dead. So what do we got to rush for?
So you went up there with your tow truck, and what did you see? What
I
did,
saw
Tow
this
truck up there.
just vast. I mean, this used to be heavily forest area. I mean, it was a forest town, really.
Yeah, it was just woods.
Yeah, the woods, really pine trees everywhere. They called it the tall pines, parts of it. But you go there and there's just, I mean, here's another thing about Paradise. There used to be this much pine cones on the ground, pine needles and pine
Right.
everywhere you looked. I haven't seen one pine needle up there.
interesting.
It's red dirt and ash
Wow.
and concrete. This thing burned so hot the asphalt bubbled up on the roads.
Yeah, the roads caught on fire.
Yeah, they had to put the roads out. What kind of shit's that?
So what temperature do you think melts that?
Well, it's
oil.
blacktop is made of nothing but glues
And oil.
adhesives, and
Tar.
tar and oil and stuff like that.
Oil,
you know that
rock,
they mix.
sand.
Yeah.
So it can bubble.
So it's going to ignite, but and rock, but it's compacted together, and the adhesives hold it together. They put adhesives in blacktop, and to ignite that, it would be like trying to ignite a wet log,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, it'd be tough.
it'd be tough to get a blacktop to burn.
So you drive up there, you see the cars, and you said there were people in them?
Well, yeah, there's people in just about all of them, I imagine.
Did you see any
this
victims
this-
inside the cars? Did you see any? He
Well-
said he saw bodies that was the springs in the seats had melted down and the people were just down low.
Sitting on the floorboard.
Sitting on the floorboard or just sitting in the passenger seat, just.
I saw that first video that they took off the air that we were talking about earlier. That guy, that one guy that you know,
The one guy that
the girl that
survived
put her
and went to
makeup
the
on.
river?
When he took his camera and first panned inside the cars,
Skeleton.
you didn't see nothing. No, there was not. Doesn't even look like nothing was there. Your eyes are looking for something, but there's nothing there. But a few fragments of bone, and flesh. If there's any flesh, it's all the way down. Just
No,
like I
man.
said, melted,
Vaporized.
melted, whatever. It's gone.
It's hard to
Just gone.
see the body inside of a car until you actually
Looking
see
for
it,
something.
You notice it, then you know what you're looking for. Then because you spot it and it looks like it's not a body in there, but you know it is because you finally spotted it.
It's just a
And then
piece
you
of-
look at all the other cars and you start noticing, holy shit, all the cars have a body in it.
Weapons of mass destruction, man. Mass murder is what just happened.
It's
up
murder.
there.
This is oh yeah, this is absolutely.
And do you
murder.
know people that are still missing?
I'm from this area. I'm from Chico. I know plenty of people in Paradise. I can't, off the top of my head, remember who, but
Yeah.
I mean, I know at
I've got
least 5
acquaintances.
handfuls of people
I
up
got
there.
hundreds of questions. I drove truck. Like I said, I drove truck for 25, 30 years. Believe it or not, I'm only 52, but I drove truck for 30 plus of those years. And I started when I was 16, and I used to deliver to businesses that I knew lots of people casually, but I didn't know them personally. But I'm sure eventually I will hear of names that I knew very well, people I knew
I
very
know
well.
a couple people like it. Big Red.
Oh, her?
Yeah, she lived up there.
I know. Well, there's not thousands of people I knew. I had lots of friends, acquaintances, but luckily the friends I know real well got out because we're hillbillies. We're
able. We're able.
We take initiative and we go. If something's chasing you, you run.
Yeah,
If it's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
kill you.
Well, he was telling the story. How he had people trying to kick him off his motorcycle because everybody was panicking, trying to get out of the fire, and so they were trying
They
to.
wanted the bike.
They wanted the bike.
They were running for sale.
My girlfriend's nephew was up there, and he said he was coming. He was starting to singe his hair. That's how close it got, and he bailed out, and he stole a car. He knows how to hotwire him real quick. No keys. He stole a car real quick. Boom. Got down the road, and everybody was jumping out of their cars because the wall of fire was coming their way, and he was like, "What are you doing? Get back in your car. You're not going to outrun this thing. Get back in your car." And he told several people that were running by to get in the car, and then he carved away through front yards and backyards and all kinds of shit, just plowing through yards.
That's what you have to
And
do.
all the people I'm friends with and know are like Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
I mean, they know how to drive. They can drive a car, and they ain't nothing
they
going to
did.
stop them unless a cement.
But why originally did they get out of their cars? I mean,
Because
The cops
the cops are
told lots
telling
of
them to
them.
get out,
Yeah,
run,
tell them to get
because
out and
they
run.
stop traffic because they're idiots and they don't realize they can go around the cars.
well, and these guys were saying that one lane was
kept the
completely
wall down
stopped and
one
only
line.
one lane was open for access and
You don't need
egress.
a street to drive.
Yeah, you can drive over parking meters and
You just can't hit a tree. You know what I'm
But
saying?
how were the cops? Because this is one of the stories is that there was no help. No one came to help them. How did the cops tell these people to get out of their cars?
They didn't. Well, they just took all Paradise's guns.
How did they take them?
with the fire.
The fire. They were lucky to get out with their lives, let alone their guns.
Wow.
Yeah,
You know how many
nobody
cars
grabbed
that
it.
were up there that were that they had bodies in that were packed full of guns too?
Oh yeah.
They were lots of them.
Yeah.
What was
And
interesting?
as far as I can understand, they haven't even gotten a percentage of it done. That's how many bodies there are.
That's what.
And
That's
how
the
many-
main thing I wish you'd get out there and get expressed across your website is fucking they're lying through their ass.
And it's possibly how many population of Paradise would you say?
Okay, put it this way.
Probably over 30,000.
When I was up there, I do know one of the cops that was up there. One of them. The rest of them I had never seen, but one of them was up there that I knew. And he lived up in Paradise also. I don't know what he was doing up there. He's the only one that I noticed. Because I've been doing this for fucking 22 years, 23 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, it's so
Is your dog
much.
need water or anything?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
He said, man, it's so
There's a
much
bowl in there,
fucking
yeah,
worse
and there's
than
some water. If
they
you can just
said.
pour it in the bowl in the car.
Okay.
Thank you.
That cop said, man, it's so much fucking worse than they said. It is
Yes.
so much
Wait, say
worse.
that again. I'm
Toll
sorry.
is over what they say it is right now. The first hour they were in there.
1,200
Oh, yeah.
was the first count. Now they're down to under 200, according to the doctor that was just here. So
They had to have found the 200
First
people
hour.
that minute they rolled in there. They had to have had 200 people on their list
Right off the gate.
instantly.
Edgewood. How many died on Edgewood?
I know. Well, the trailer parks with the old people.
That's another thing. My friend wants to come talk to you. He's very interested in getting what he saw, and he escaped the flame barely. And
They didn't expect anybody to get out of there. They didn't want anybody to get out of there.
I gotta go.
It's just by chance, because of family members living in such close communities.
Right, right.
You know, the town's up there a few miles away, but we still notice things. We still look up, like the campsite. We notice things. And when they saw that fire, they called the people they knew up that way because it looked a lot closer than it was. And by chance, they got out of there with their lives. That's it. And the rest of the people perished. The rest of the people all died. And the rest of the people perished. The rest of the people all died.